Personally, I think it's pretty juvenile. It's pretty ridiculous.
People in the Lexington neighborhood say they're angry about some recent vandalism there, and some even call it a hate crime.
The Lexington Fire Department talking to us about how they're taking new precautions to protect firefighters from work-related cancer.
A thief steals something valuable from a southern Kentucky church, and the pastor says he has a message for that person.
This is WKYT News.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. We're getting closer to the weekend, but it does not look like the sunny weather we've had this week will stick around.
No, it doesn't. It looks like we'll be seeing more showers and storms. We begin tonight with meteorologist Jim Caldwell and your no-wait weather forecast.
Yeah, it's all quiet out there for us tonight. You can see the view all the way back toward the downtown area, and things are moving along smoothly for us. It's 75 degrees. Humidity up, of course, a little bit at night, but not as intense as it can be. But it will be creeping up, I think, as we get into the day tomorrow, and especially into the weekend, because we've got a few of those showers and thunderstorms. Low and mid-70s area-wide, a few spots out into eastern Kentucky showing mid and upper 60s out there. And you go into Mount Sterling at 70, Moorhead at 70 as well. So overall, a pleasant night currently underway. Right now, as I mentioned, 75 in Lexington. Let's show you the forecast as we get through the day tomorrow. I think once we cross over to about 5 o'clock, we could run into an isolated chance of a shower or a thunderstorm creeping into the area. So that's a small chance. Most of us are going to stay dry tomorrow, but the dry factor will not hold throughout the entire 7-day. As we check for the rain chances, we go into Saturday and Sunday. We're talking about widespread rounds of rain here, especially into Sunday. I think it should be a little more organized, maybe even a little heavy at times. But once we get past that, we'll dry things up as we head into the official beginning of fall. We'll track all of this hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. It started with a community effort to encourage drivers to slow down, but people in a Lexington neighborhood say it led to vandalism and what they consider to be a hate crime.
People in the Southern Heights neighborhood off Nicholasville Road said signs they posted around that area were stolen, but later returned with a spray-painted message on them. Monique Blair has tonight's top story.
Driving through the Southern Heights neighborhood, you're almost guaranteed to see kids out playing and people out walking their dogs. But in the past year or so,
You'll see people just blow through that stop sign all day long.
neighbors say they've noticed significantly more traffic and cars that are speeding down their streets.
We've had a couple pets killed just in the last couple months.
So some neighbors, like Kristen Pascucci, decided to do something that was intended to keep drivers mindful of the speed limit.
We all thought it'd be a good idea for everybody to just put out signs and, asking drivers to just be a little more aware.
But then overnight Sunday, several of these signs that read "Drive like your kids live here" were stolen, and then by Monday morning replaced with newly spray painted signs that read "Drive like you're gay."
We did what we thought was a very positive, simple solution, and I guess it really made somebody mad.
Pascucci says she can't help but look at this as a possible hate crime, and now she wonders how she will explain it to her young son.
We don't use derogatory language like that. Not that that word is derogatory, but, the way in which it was used was obviously meant to be, hateful or derogatory.
Pascucci says now because of this crime, she is just going to push even harder to make sure drivers are aware of how important it is to drive safely through her neighborhood.
We're not going to give up our neighborhood because of some crazy person.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
And neighbors tell us they're not sure who committed this crime, but they have been assured that Lexington police will be adding patrol units to their neighborhood during the overnight hours.
University of Kentucky police say they plan to enhance security around the edges of campus. It comes after Lexington police say a string of sexual assaults in recent years in neighborhoods around campus are likely connected. Police released a sketch of the suspect yesterday. Some UK students question why UK did not issue a safety alert about the assaults, the most recent of which happened late last month. UK police say the circumstances didn't warrant an alert.
This incident occurred 2.5 weeks ago. The sketch was released last night. So the information we received does not pose an immediate threat to campus at this time.
Lexington police say they did ask UK to consider sharing information with students. UK police say they are stepping up patrols around the edges of campus and also adding more cameras to those areas. New tonight, police have arrested a man they say caused a disturbance at a Laurel County school. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office charged 27-year-old Cameron Lunsford with trespassing, disorderly conduct, and public intoxication. Deputies say this afternoon Lunsford approached some children on the playground outside the East Bernstadt school. When teachers saw what was happening, deputies say Lunsford ran off. They say they later found him staggering on a nearby road.
It can be a dangerous, even a deadly job. Firefighters know their work carries many risks, and sometimes the toxins firefighters come in contact with while fighting a fire can cause cancer. So now the Lexington Fire Department has launched new protocols that are designed to better protect firefighters while they're working. Garrett Weimer has their story.
When crews are called to a fire,
here we are.
These hoods are another layer of protection.
And typically you'd have, of course, your gear on and your face piece and a helmet as well.
But they can also trap cancer-causing toxins. Now, after a fire, firefighters will swap out their dirty hoods for a clean one, a new step to help reduce their risk of getting cancer.
Firefighting is always going to be a nasty, dirty job. We can't take that out of the equation. And that's basically, we're fighting that unseen enemy that's out there every day.
It's an issue that hits close to home for firefighters, especially after losing fellow firefighter Matt Logston to cancer just months ago. Fire officials say they'll also focus on giving crews time when possible to shower as soon as they fight a fire, part of a three-step process to clean anything harmful off of them.
The less time that you have with it, the better shielding you have from it, and the further away you are from it. Obviously that's going to be better for your well.
Firefighters put those protocols into practice after fighting a fire on Sherman Avenue Thursday morning.
The cleaner we are, the safer we are, is basically what it boils down to.
Fire officials hope the steps will fight their risk of cancer long after they fight their last fire. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Firefighters say the new protocols add to steps they already take to reduce the risk of cancer, and that includes things like vents to get rid of exhaust fumes from the trucks and keeping their gear outside of where they sleep.
New tonight, police in New York City shot a man they say attacked a police officer with a meat cleaver. Police say they initially stopped the man because he was trying to remove a boot from a vehicle near Madison Square Garden. Police say the man then pulled a knife on them and ran off. They say they chased him for several blocks, and an off-duty detective tried to tackle the man. But police say the suspect hit the detective with a meat cleaver, leaving a large gash on his face. Police then shot the suspect. They say he's now in the hospital in critical condition, and police say the detective is in serious condition. A Russell County mother charged with murder after her daughter's death pled not guilty today. Jessica Warner was arraigned just a few hours before the funeral for her daughter Chloe. Police say she caused a crash that killed the 3-year-old last weekend. They say Warner took meth before the crash. During parts of her arraignment, she appeared to be sobbing.
New tonight, a Whitley County pastor says a thief stole his church's van. Pastor James Helton says he noticed the van was gone when he drove up to the River's Edge Church Tuesday afternoon. He says the van has been having mechanical issues for months, so he doesn't think the thief made it very far. But so far, the van hasn't been found. The pastor says he's praying for the person who took the van.
I think God's speaking through this, and he's letting us know the times we're living in. We're living in some different times now because, when it comes to people stealing from the church.
Police are investigating the theft, but say they don't have any leads. They're looking for a white Dodge 15-passenger van with a blue church logo on the side.
A state trooper who died in a crash nearly 4 years ago will be among the fallen heroes honored during Saturday's UK football game. Trooper Blake Tribby died in 2013 in a crash involving his pickup on Interstate 64 in Clark County. Police say he was trying to help some people on the side of the road at the time. Police now consider his death line of duty, and his name has been added to memorials. He'll be among those honored Saturday when My Old Kentucky Home is played at Commonwealth Stadium.
It's just going to be a special event because my husband actually graduated from the University of Kentucky in 2009, and I'm currently at law school here. So UK holds a special place in our heart educationally.
The Tribby family is planning to tailgate before Saturday's game as a way to celebrate Trooper Tribby's life with all of their friends.
New tonight, 15 UK journalism and media faculty members are asking UK President Eli Capilouto to drop the university's open records lawsuit against the student newspaper. They signed a letter which was delivered to Capilouto this afternoon. The faculty members also want an apology from him. UK is suing the Kentucky Colonel, which wanted documents related to a sexual assault investigation involving a former professor. UK says releasing documents would violate the privacy of the victims.
Hillary Clinton was back on the campaign trail today, but a new poll shows the race between her and Donald Trump is getting tighter, the latest in 9 minutes.
And then the federal government has a message for anyone who has one of the new Samsung Galaxy Note 7 phones.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
We got up in many cases today in the upper 80s, low 90s to our west, so there's still plenty of heat. We're a week away from the official beginning of fall, and tonight we find ourselves running in the 70s in a lot of locations. Check out some of the temps we have out there. Low to mid, pretty common. Mount Sterling comes in low. You look here into Lexington, we're at 74, 73 in Frankfort, so still a little bit on the warm side, but humidity is not unbearable out there, so it's not going to be like a punch in the face when you walk outside. Won't be that way in the morning either. Here's what we have on our Defender Radar Network. We've just been watching clouds stream into the skies from some showers and thunderstorms that were falling apart earlier, and there's more storms well off to our west tonight, and especially to our northwest. As you can see, some of them coming together there with that frontal boundary. That is the energy that's going to be shifting and making its way toward us. It will enhance our chances of showers and storms going into the weekend. You'll run into an isolated risk tomorrow. Most of us are going to be dry, though, but Saturday into Sunday, more widespread chances of showers and storms. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a complete washout from sun up to sundown. You will have some dry periods in there, but just be aware that you are going to have to deal with more rain before it's all said and done, because that slow-moving front continues to work into the area. You can see how it happens here. We're already at noon tomorrow here with our hour-by-hour. You see the low mid-80s are showing up at that point, and then we make a run again into the upper 80s. A little more humidity out there as well. Here's what the isolated chances of showers and storms look like, and I think that might even be a bit aggressive, but you could run into at least a few tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Sun goes down quiet for a little while, at least from that batch. Then we get the more organized set of thunderstorms coming into the area. Those are going to be closely attached to that frontal boundary, so that gets a little more active overnight into the early morning on Saturday and into the day on Saturday as well. So that was one wave going through. We get into the afternoon and evening, another wave will try to set up, and then it pushes a little bit deeper into Kentucky once we get into Sunday. Another big push of moisture. These, as you notice, look a little more organized, a little more heavy at times as well. That's where you're seeing those greens and those yellows picking up on at least that possibility. And that's the front itself snaking its way across Kentucky and dropping temperatures with it as well. So if you're headed out this Saturday with that 4 p.m. kickoff at Commonwealth Stadium, just be prepared, because you'll likely be running into some chances of showers and storms at some point during the day. Got the chance alive pretty much all day long there. Here comes our 7-day forecast, which takes beyond the rainy mess that we have, which is not necessarily a mess because we do need the rain to kind of balance things out around here. And then we get into next week, starting off next week, nice, very comfortable, and you see I've got fall highlighted there, and it's right back to 87 degrees, which will by that time will be about 8 degrees above average, or maybe 9. So
it's been a little while since we had a Saturday and a Sunday that were pretty rainy. I'm trying to remember the last time. We've had some really nice weekends.
We've had a split, and that's and then we'd end up with a rainy Saturday and then a nice Sunday.
Yeah.
So this could be a washout for many for most of the weekend.
Okay, thank you.
New program in some Kentucky schools is expected to help students and teachers if they get sick this school year. That's in 8 minutes. A day after Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump released information about their health, it was back to the issues on the campaign trail.
And a newly released CBS News poll shows a tight race nationwide. Craig Boswell has the latest from both campaigns.
Hillary Clinton got an enthusiastic welcome in North Carolina after 3 days off the campaign trail to recover from pneumonia.
Nobody ever accuses me of quitting, and I will never give up. I'll never walk away, no matter how tough the going gets.
Clinton took a swipe at Donald Trump over his birther stance on President Obama, who appeared before her during an appearance in Washington.
He still wouldn't say America. This man wants to be our next president? When will he stop this ugliness, this bigotry?
Trump launched a sweeping attack at Clinton during a stop in New Hampshire.
Her policies have created disaster overseas and poverty at home, so many places. I'm running to reverse these failures and to create a new American future.
He also promised to create jobs and help Americans become more prosperous.
I'm going to lower your taxes beyond any number you thought possible.
It's a real race to the finish. The new CBS News New York Times poll shows Clinton and Trump running neck and neck with less than 8 weeks until Election Day.
Both candidates have more work ahead to win over voters. The same poll shows a majority of voters feel both Clinton and Trump are risky choices for president. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Also tonight, Trump's campaign said he now believes President Obama was born in the United States. The statement follows an interview published by the Washington Post in which Trump would not say if he believed that.
New tonight, police say they now know what caused the deaths of former NASCAR star Robbie Gordon's father and stepmother. They now say Gordon's father, Robert, strangled Sharon Gordon before shooting himself. Police say they found the couple's bodies Wednesday in their Southern California home. They have not said what they think led to the murder-suicide. New tonight, federal regulators are now recalling 1 million Samsung Galaxy Note 7 phones. Authorities say the lithium-ion batteries in the phones can explode or catch fire. Samsung had confirmed a few dozen cases of that happening. The company had voluntarily recalled the devices, but the Consumer Product Safety Commission went a step further and issued a formal recall. Customers can get a full refund or a replacement phone.
New tonight, some school districts in the Ashland area now have a nurse practitioner on call, and school employees say it's very helpful. The nurse practitioner will stop by a school if someone needs more medical attention than a school nurse can provide. She'll even see teachers and staff members on short notice. School leaders say the walk-in care program keeps students and staff members in class more often, meaning fewer substitute teachers and more tuition support from the state.
We know what the data says educationally on that. A student that's at school with a staff member that's at school is going to positively impact student achievement within those walls and just create a better environment in the school.
Patients, whether a student or an employee, are billed a copay if they see the nurse practitioner, but those without insurance are not turned away.
If you have ever had a craving for Chipotle but didn't want to drive to the restaurant, you'll like what's now being tested in Virginia. The restaurant chain is now trying out deliveries by drone at Virginia Tech University. A few hundred people are taking part in the project. They order food from a kiosk and it is prepared in a food truck, then delivered by drone. Up to this point, the drones haven't had to travel very far. There's no word if the project will be expanded elsewhere in the near future. That is every college student's dream, to have a burrito dropped right down to them and they don't have to go anywhere.
There you
Jim
go.
Caldwell loves the idea.
All right, even though he's not a college student. Up next, he was one. It'll be Heroes Day Saturday, Rob, at Commonwealth Stadium.
After practice, Mark Stoops talked a little bit about it today. A special visitor at practice, and on game day, Stoops' role with the defense will not change, with one exception. Stay with us. Sports is next. Mark Stoops saying his team had a good week of practice as he made his final comments late this afternoon before the Cats teed up with New Mexico State. Stoops said the Cats worked hard this week on ourselves, as he put it, and he said again his players can't beat anybody until they stop beating themselves. This week, Stoops said he took a more active role with the defense, but for the most part, with the exception of play calling, things won't change on game day.
No, not on game day. I mean, we did some different things this week that I already addressed, but on the game day itself, nothing different. With the exception, I mean, I will be more active with play calling.
The UK will again be hosting Heroes Day Saturday. Our military, police, firefighters, and other first responders will be honored. The Cats have had several visitors at practice this week. Today, Matthew Bradford, the Marine, who lost both legs and his eyesight in Iraq.
It was wonderful, and we just wrapped up with Matthew Bradford talking to the team, and so, you know, it's a real honor to have heroes like that here, and with the police and the firefighters and everybody we've had this week. It's been really good for our players to see them and just invite people out to watch the practices. So it's been a nice week.
Stoops and his team, big favorites to get that first win this weekend. 4 o'clock kick on the SEC Network alternate channel. In Lexington, that's channel 518 on Time Warner. Number 2 ranked Florida State coming into Papa John Stadium Saturday to take on the Louisville Cardinals. College game day is in town for it. Now Louisville's ranked number 10 in the nation. The Cards have cruised through their first 2 games, winning easily over Charlotte and Syracuse. But Florida State is a whole different challenge.
They're very sound, you know. They make you earn everything. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they don't give you anything. They make you earn it. So we're going to have to do a good job in our pass protection. We're going to have to do a good job being exactly where we're supposed to be on our routes. And then we're going to have to be accurate throwing the ball, because they're going to be tight, close coverage, and and we've got to be able to do both run and pass.
Wednesday, Kentucky unveiled new uniforms for the upcoming season. Today, the players modeled them on photo day. This is the first time that we have seen the players together. The uniforms look pretty sharp. It has become customary, as you know, during the John Calipari era. A lot of new faces on the roster this season. One of the leaders of this year's team, Isaiah Briscoe, picking up the camera, going to work. You may see that photo on Instagram or Facebook later on. He seemed to like it. Kentucky's 3 seniors posing together, Dominique Hawkins, Derek Willis, and Michael Mulder. There they are. Big Blue Madness, 4 weeks from tomorrow night. Volleyball tonight at the KFC Yum Center. Kentucky and Louisville, and the Cats dominate the match, winning 3 straight. 25-15, 25-18, and 25-9. Sophomore setter Olivia Daly boasting 46 total kills, dishing out 37 assists. Kentucky has now won 4 in a row over U of L and moves to 6-4 on the young season. UK will host Lipscomb Saturday night at Memorial Coliseum. Jets beat the Bills 37-31 in NFL action tonight. Thanks for staying up. We'll be right back.
The Late Show, Stephen Colbert, and we mean late, is less than a minute away here on WKYT, almost 12:30. Tonight's guests include Tracy Ellis Ross. This is past your bedtime, Amber.
It is past my bedtime. I'm getting very close. So hurry up so I can get home. I turn into a pumpkin.
Wait, I don't want to see that. Forecast skies looking decent for most of us tomorrow. A little heat out there as we're in the upper 80s. Small chance of rain, isolated chance of shower, thunderstorm. The better chances arrive here on Saturday and Sunday. And you'd be a beautiful pumpkin either way, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying up late. Have a good morning.